Again, thank you for having us and giving us this opportunity. I want to start with Mr. Mahesh. You, as CEO, what made you say yes to AI? Because yes, we have been in talks, and a lot of businesses here also talked about they are thinking about leveraging AI, or they're starting to have that conversation. But you've already put one of the solutions or a couple of solutions already in production. What made you think, right, be the first AI on the table? Like, were there certain challenges that you faced? Was there something that you had to do right internally before you set to that first project that you wanted to do with us?
Okay. Thank you, Pavel, for having us here. It's a pleasure to be here. What made us saw AI very early was the scale of Singer, the size of Singer, and the enormous amount of data that we had. So as early as 2018, 17, right. 18, yes. We started talking about data.
Right.
So I don't think we used the word AI specifically,
yes.
But we started talking about data to say we have a hell of a lot of data, enormous amount of data. And how do we make the best out of it? So that was the beginning. And just not in boardroom level, but we went down talking about data and how do you get it's like a gold mine for us. We made it a pillar of our strategic pillars, data, and how do you mine the data. So that was the beginning of the thing, because we see Singer has been in existence in Sri Lanka for 149 years.
Right.
So leave that aside. Take the last 20 years where we adopted the ERP solution.
Right.
So we had quality data for the last from about 2004. So we had about 20 years of quality data that can be made use of. So that's the beginning of talking about AI, talking about how to get the best out of data we have. So in terms of how do you get this thing make it work, was the two challenges we had. First of all, obviously, we need the business tech infrastructure to happen.
Right.
I think it's relatively the easy part of it. Okay. All what you need is a guy like him.
I don't know, Damita,
and some funding.
Sure.
That's the relatively easy part of it. But the second part of it, being a legacy organization, how do you change the mindset of people that technology, digitalization, data-driven solutions are there for you to get an opportunity. So is that connectivity that we need to create from a data-driven opportunity to be seen by the people who are working, at least to a management level. Right. So that was the start, I would say.
Absolutely. Now, Damita, just on that, right? So Mr. Mahesh just said what was the leadership thinking, right? From your perspective, right, you lead information technology at Singer, what did you have to fix, right? Obviously, we have had a journey from 2018. We have been working together, setting up the data foundation. But what were some of the internal challenges before AI was put in production? What were the things that you had to do within your team? Maybe if you can share with everyone here.
Yeah. Hi, Pavel. Thank you for having me here. On this also, Pavel, I think the behavioral culture, the teams and everyone's behavioral culture was very important in terms of driving this data and AI-related projects. So that was one main thing that we had to think on. And then we had to get the data right. So there are many systems across, so you have to ensure that your data is ready and proper. So those are the two main things that we had to concentrate. So if I speak on how we build the culture, on behavioral culture. So I think mainly it's like the top level sponsorship.
Right.
So the keenness of the top management on how these things happen, how the projects are going, and all the stuff helped us to move on with these kind of projects. So, and
was there any process change that you had to do internally, that you were doing certain things and AI would now do it in a different way? Was there anything that you had to think through on
absolutely. That then that's what I was going to tell Pavel. Now we had to create that culture within the organization where people start working with the data. Some of the meetings also been aligned and with the data make decisions. So similarly, this cultural change was put into the organization. So that was the start, right? Then getting the data right also is very important, right? So here, now we as a core application system or the application architecture in our setup, so we have the core application, the ERP, and then we have some subsystems built around this.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
So then what is important is how you build the data around this. So what we decided was to build a data lake, okay,
Right.
or the
Correct.
data structure
Yeah.
on top of these subsystems. So what it gave us was it gave us this leverage on
The foundation was there to build
where
on that. No, absolutely.
It will give that one line of truth on a
Correct.
data set, right?
Yeah.
So then building this was a little bit challenging also,
Absolutely.
right? Because when you build this data lake, we had to go through some challenges where some of our mass data in between these systems had mismatches, and we had to go through some difficulties on getting them,
Sure.
right. But that was it. That's how we started, getting the behavioral change and the system level change.
So I want to ask you, Mr. Mahesh, right? So while this was all happening, right, you gave the vision that, this has to be done. Namita was working with us, trying to put that together. We talked about there is very interesting, right? Like, I am proud to say that, Singer has been able to put that in automating their RFQ responses and leveraging AI to help ensure that they are able to automate their entire RFQ process. How did you identify, Mr. Mahesh, that would be your first bet, right? You could have done multiple use cases, right? We talked about, but why was that the most critical one for you guys? Because that was very unique, honestly.
Yeah. So when you say RFQ, people will think it's a very complicated
Sure.
word, but it's request for quotation.
Right.
Simple as that. So RFQ, our core business is retail.
Right.
Our core business is retail with 425 outlets, millions of transactions happening. It's like an ecosystem. But we also have this institutional sales B2B channel, which is a growing channel, which was like set a few years back. So what we saw was a weakness in that, where the ownership of a answer for a customer was not happening, the pace or the accuracy that was there. So we wanted to make sure that you can't have 10 people owning the quotations.
Right.
The answer should be given by one person, well followed up with and if it is elevated to the next level, if it's not happening. So we were losing a lot of orders in the process by not having a proper system to manage it. So the most recent AI-based thing was the RFQ system,
right,
where now we find all the quotation requests or inquiries that come from the business sectors, B2B, commercial institutions, are answered very promptly.
Right.
Within a day, within 2 days, by the right person at the right time. And if it is not answered, it also gets into the eyes of the next level and say, why haven't you responded to this?
Correct.
So it's a good thing, maybe not a huge thing that's going to impact the size of Singer, but it's a very good initiative in my way that AI-based thing is happening here.
Absolutely. Maybe for everyone, just a quick word of why Ninopal and AWS, maybe that would help, some people to have interest. Why did you? So I'm sure, you were evaluating people, right? Why us? Would love to, let everyone know why us and maybe AWS, as a
So our engagement with Ninopal has been almost coming close to 7-8 years.
Yes.
And you all understood us very well. You all understood our company processes, our businesses well. And we also understood and we had no hesitation in your capabilities in the business. So that is one of the reasons that we had no hesitation in basically calling you to help us on this RFQ development. And not only that, even many other data-driven initiatives are happening in the company.
Right.
At our parent company level, there are many companies in that. There was a discussion on should we have a data analytics center in the company.
Right.
Who wanted to go with it? So Singer was the first to raise their hand and say, we see opportunity in this. We definitely see opportunity. So we set up, we call it Advanced Analytics Center of Excellence. Mm-hmm. There are about 12 data scientists and data engineers are now full-time working in that.
Right.
But we see that is the future of our growth.
Sure.
We have come to a level for grow further. We definitely see that as a growth opportunity using the data, enormous amount of data we have.
While this is great, right, and we can go on and on why we are a great partner to Singer, all of that is great, but I think there is always this, some of the leaders will have this in mind, right? While you moved, in your AI journey, other enterprises are still evaluating whether to adopt AI or not. What are some of the internal challenges, right? Because it's not like, Mr. Mahesh said, and then everyone will start jumping the bandwagon of AI. There would be certain internal barriers or certain challenges that you face. So that's something that on the top of the leader's mind who are still thinking. What do you have to say that, what are the challenges that you face and how did you overcome? Maybe if you can throw some light.
I'm sure it's quite common to many companies, the people factor.
Right.
The people factor from a very, I would say, manual systems to go to that. I think the biggest thing we need to get into their head is to see opportunity.
Right.
See the capability, what data, the proper use of data, proper use of information can build it to your organization. So if you don't understand that, there's no point driving this. Right. So that's the biggest challenge. You need to go and talk to them. Look, you have people who have bought refrigerators for last 10, 15 years. Now these refrigerators must be quite old. Right. Why don't we generate a system what is going to be their next purchase?
Correct.
Right? Like that, now those are old, energy consuming. Why don't we generate automatic systems, say your next fridge is going to be an inverter, new one, right? And it will save you energy. So like that, the opportunity has to be seen by the people. So that's one, connecting digitalization with business opportunity.
Sure.
Number two, I would say the lagging effect. You say every business owner, when you say sales director, or the marketing director say, I want a system like this. So everybody ends up in his room
yes.
saying IT is the survivor for us. So they develop a system. But once it is developed, how fast can you get it going across to get 100%? So what we realize is the system okay? Yeah, answer is yes. Now system is being deployed. Then after 2-3 months, I ask, how many are using it?
Right.
20%. 25%. What happened to the balance 75? So I think that lagging effect needs to be kind of reduced very fast. I know it won't work like that. Tomorrow not 100%. But at least we must say you don't do half-hearted. Right. Once you get one shop right, the entire 425 shops will be able to do it.
Absolutely.
So that's that second part that we have, where the barrier is to how much shorter can you get it? How do you reduce the lagging part? One more thing, third one, I would say the measurement.
Right.
The measurement part, what I don't see in most of even the solution provider, don't show us the real measurement of the success of this. We say AI is great. The solution is going to give you a lot of benefits. But how do I measure it?
ROI.
That is still yet to be, I won't say perfect here. So we would expect even like Ninopal or any other person proposing something to a client, show till the measurement is also being given. So those three I can say as
Absolutely. No, I think that's wonderfully put, and I think even Jayanta was mentioning that start small, and I think that is what every leader should think about, starting small and then scaling out. So even with Singer, we are not going out all out with doing AI for all 425. So we start small, prove the value, and then scale. Finally, before we go, right, with all the CXOs, so Singer, for the last 18 months, we have been talking about AI. We have actually put in, because it takes time to actually work in an enterprise like Singer. What do you have to, like, one takeaway that you had, like, how can leaders here, do to, shorten that 18 or, 12-month, 18-month journey that we have taken together? What is it that you will have to tell them, that one thing that this is what they should be thinking about, maybe from an IT perspective and maybe from a leadership perspective?
So what I would say is, don't try to rebuild your company to suit AI. Get your company's processes to get AI to do the best out of your processes and systems.
Right.
And one other thing is, I think your company needs the experts within the group, at least one or two who has been empowered to drive it. If you don't have that ability also, you won't really drive the kind of AI-driven initiatives within the company. So two things. One is seeing the best out of AI to the company already existing, and also having at least one or two senior management level people who see the benefits of AI.
Right. Damita.
Yeah, from a From a technological perspective, Pavel, I would say we have come across many technological changes, right? So maybe mobile adoption and cloud shift.
Right.
So those days, those are the topics of the town, right? But now those are business as usual. Cloud shift, mobile apps, those are given, right? So similarly, AI would be also time to come would be something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of starting this. So most importantly, I think what we should consider is don't treat AI as an IT project, but treat them as a business transformational
yes,
project.
yes, exactly.
So that should be the most important thing into mind.
No, absolutely, and I think that's wonderfully put, right? The AI gives us the ability to change and fit your business processes. Do not change the company to fit what AI could do. This is not an ERP that you have to change functionalities. The AI can fit your business functions.